Earlier today, the House of Representatives passed legislation to sanction the International Criminal Court, and their officials, which you may recall, issued a arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister for their actions during Israel's war against Hamas. The Illegitimate Court Counteraction Act passed by a vote of 243 to 140, with 45 Democrats joining Republicans in support of it. It now heads to the Senate, where the Majority Leader John Thune says he will put it onto the floor and advance it. So what message does this send to the world, and what does it tell us about what we could expect out of the 119th Congress? Here now to discuss this and more, Congressman Doug LaMalfa, who is a member of the three House committees, and chairman of the Congressional Western Caucus. He represents the 1st Congressional District of California. Congressman LaMalfa, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Tony, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate your coverage today.
First, before we jump into this topic, you're from California, very familiar with fires. In fact, wasn't too long ago you had fires in your northern part of the state. What can you tell us about what's happening there in California?
Yeah, ours is a little more seasonal up in north, where we do get rain and snow, and Southern California being more arid. Well, it's not a surprise that the threat is there every year. Every year you can count on the Santa Ana winds coming in and, possibly affecting fire if one's occurring. And so at this time, they were extremely unfortunate in how severe it was this go round. But it's to be expected every year. And so what is our level of readiness for being able to have a chance to fight the fire, or the resiliency against a fire that will happen occasionally anyhow? So our homes being built out of the right material, and as the lands around there being treated in such a way that you don't have the brush and the fuel that will carry the fire to the areas where you really don't want to burn.
Is the criticism of state and local officials there justified?
In fairness, yes, because the priorities have been something else. You can see how the fire department down there has been hiring on DEI type priorities instead of just who are the best people they can bring in. You might have seen a video from a fellow last name Corolla, who tried to join the fire department, had to wait 7 years merely because he was the wrong gender or color or something. That's ridiculous. And then we saw what the city there chose to downsize their fire department by about $17 million in funding, and that doesn't reflect that there's a lower fire risk in the area. And obviously, we're seeing that the fire risk is still very high, especially with
policy matters. The policies we adopt matter. It affects people.
That's what
we need to be paying attention to these things
by what government does. Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about this. Tell us about the bill voted on earlier today, the ICC, that would sanction the ICC. Tell us exactly what it does and why it was important for Congress to take this up first in the 119th Congress.
It sends a strong message that the disinformation that's been around Israel and this whole battle here in Gaza, with obviously Hamas is the aggressor on that. I mean, until that October 7th ago, there really wasn't an issue like that. So they've taken this to the next level on the whole phony concept of what Palestine should be, which is more fictitious than anything. And so the whole, Israel's bent over backwards for most of its existence to try and accommodate. The Gaza was a kind of a land for peace deal, and they never got peace. So they were setting up rockets before the settlement the ink was even dry on that deal. And so we know the source of the attack, the heinous things, the ugly things that the Hamas related people did to those people starting on October 7th. That's all on their lap. The blood is on their hands. Israel is doing what should be done. It's actually bending over backwards and maybe succumbing to world pressure, unfair pressure by UN and media and others. And I think some pretty bad handling by the Biden administration, where they should have had stronger backing by the United States from the beginning. This would probably be over a long time ago, and the hostages either released, or if these guys were going to torture and murder them, as we've seen happen with some of them, the situation would have been settled, and still it drags on. So now when you see with Trump coming in, they're paying more attention, and it seems like there's going to be a stronger effort to end this thing as it is. But it has to be pretty much unconditional. We can't allow Hamas to continue doing what they're doing with that massive tunnel system, and there's a cell everywhere that they can launch rockets from and abduct people. So for the ICC to be somehow blaming Netanyahu as some kind of war criminal because he's resisting and pushing back and trying to end this, Israel has always sued for peace. Has always, and even when they do an airstrike or try and wipe these guys out where they are, they send leaflets and they send warning, hey, we're going to do this very surgically. They don't just indiscriminately bomb everything like those rockets that they launch indiscriminately into Israel. And they don't care who they kill or what it affects. So it's ridiculous that the ICC would even consider that. This just shows the politics of the UN, the Security Council, and a lot of the really irresponsible world media on blaming it on Netanyahu.
And it's certainly encouraging to see Congress taking this up in their first week. Doug, we're out of time, up against a break.
And
I want to thank you for joining us.
Too, Tony. This also affects American citizens, possibly, so I want to protect them too. Thank you.